Hey everyone, what's up? Gary Simon of CourseCentral.com. So today's a big one because for the very first time in this channel's history, and I've been around for almost 10 years now on YouTube, we're going to cover WordPress. All right, so what is WordPress? Well, basically it's an open source software that you can use to create a beautiful website, blog, or app. All right, open source means that it is free to use. Now, of course, you need to have it hosted somewhere and managed. And for that is our sponsor of this video, which is Namecheap.com. So Namecheap.com, many of you probably already heard of them. They're very popular for domain registration, but not just that, but also hosting and WordPress. All right, so that's what we're going to be using for this tutorial when we get started, when we go to install and setting up WordPress. And their EasyWP managed WordPress solution makes it extremely easy to get started. And as you can see, it's extremely cheap as well, especially if you have just a personal project or an actual business that you want to run WordPress on. You're going to see when we start this process, first we're going to register a domain name, and then we're going to get started by setting up EasyWP. It only takes, I'm not kidding you, literally about 3 minutes from when you start the process all the way till you can have an actual, you can visit on your phone, your custom .com or .net or whatever you use, and it'll be ready to go. So that's how we're going to get started with this video. And then the rest of the video, we're going to focus on teaching you exactly how to use WordPress in the administration area to set up your WordPress website and manage it, update it, and all of that good stuff. So definitely check out the sponsor Namecheap.com for this offer, and let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so now we're gonna get started by talking about how you get up and running with WordPress. And there's a few different ways. And one of the ways that I'm featuring here is through the sponsor of this entire video, which is Namecheap. And as you can see, if you go to Namecheap.com, you can click on the link, by the way, that's in the first line of the description here on YouTube. You see we have a WordPress option. So we see Managed WordPress. That's where we want to click. And we have what they call their EasyWP or Easy WordPress, and it's a managed WordPress solution so that you can very quickly and easily get up and running with WordPress. All right, it provides you with the hosting and WordPress itself, and installing WordPress, it'll handle that as well. So it makes it very easy. Okay, so I'm just going to first, before we start this, I want to have a domain name. You're going to want a domain name as well for your business or your personal project, whatever it is. I can't stress the importance of having your own domain name, whether that be a .com, .net, or one of the new TLDs as they're called. So I'm going to do a domain name search, and we're going to register it to the account, and then we'll add Easy WordPress. So I'm going to choose designcoursewp.com. All right, let's see if that's available. I hope it is. Okay, wow, and a .com that is actually available. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and add this to my cart. And as you can see, when we add it, we have the option of adding these different things right here. This is what we want. We want to add this to the cart. EasyWP. All right, so now I can click on View Cart. The entire thing with a domain name, as you can see, is only $10.06. And you can also add your other stuff, such as a Whois guard, if you want privacy so nobody can see. They can look up your domain name to see, you know, who owns it or whatever. We're just going to enable that. It's free forever. So that's awesome. Okay, so confirm order. I'll choose my account funds. And there you go. That took all of like 60 seconds to complete the entire process of getting a domain name and getting set up with EasyWP. So now you can see we have on the order page, we have the 3 different things that we have access to. We can manage them all. And of course, the area we want to go to is EasyWP right here. So I'm going to click Manage. We'll click on EasyWP right here. And we want to click on Set Up WordPress. So we'll choose our Namecheap domain that we registered. Mine is designcoursewp.com. Hit Continue. and create a WordPress website now. Hit confirm. And it's creating the website. So now it says your website design course WP is live, and we can find the credentials in the email that's tied to your account. So of course, I was already logged into my Namecheap account. That's the one area where you're going to have to do separately. But yeah, it's already ready to rock apparently. So if you click right here, they'll have sort of like a little bit of an area where you can see the status of everything. We can click on WP Admin or the WordPress administration area button, and it's going to load up here at design course WP or whatever domain you registered /WP-admin. And this is the area, this is the main interface that you're going to be working within when you manage your WordPress website. And this is really going to be the focus of this sort of crash course. And you can see we have this navigation over here where we're going to go over posts, media, pages, appearance as well, plugins, tools, and settings, so that you really get a comprehensive understanding of how exactly you use WordPress. So what's really cool, first of all, before we get to any of that, is if we hover over here, it's going to have the name of your site or just really whatever your .com is, and we click on Visit Site. You can actually see your live website, and we just registered the site a few minutes ago, and it's already live. It's nothing too impressive at this point, but it is a basic blog theme that they get you started with, and they have a very default Hello World post as all. It's really been around since WordPress started, and what's really cool is just how fast Namecheap has made it with Easy WordPress to get up and running with WordPress. Very awesome. So at any point, once you're making changes in the main dashboard, you can refer back to your website here and see what it is in a live setting. So let's go ahead and hover over this and right click, and we'll just go to our dashboard right here. And in our dashboard, the first area that we're going to look at, for instance, if you wanted to change just something simple like the name of your website and the tagline, well, let's take a look over here at settings. So when you hover over settings, we have several different areas. So the first one is general, and the very first thing that they give you access to change, of course, is the site title. So I'm just going to name mine Design Course with a space, and then the tagline, teaching the internet wonderful coder things. I don't know. I clearly didn't prepare the tagline for this. We're going to want to leave the WordPress address and the site address as the same. Email address, whatever you wish. Then we have membership, and as you can see, it's turned off by default, but WordPress has a membership system that allows people to add posts, comments, or perform other actions on the site. We're just going to leave this unchecked. Also, site language, very simple. If you have if you're located in a non-English area, of course, you can specify all of these down here. Time zone, date format, time format. You can control how times are displayed on the website and the date formats as well right here. So we're just going to leave all this stuff the same. So once we save changes, we can see automatically it's updated the site name. We can refer back here, refresh this, and design course, teaching the internet wonderful coder things. So just one thing about this, which we'll get to a little bit later on, when it comes to your WordPress theme, it's not always going to show things as it's appearing here. This is just the default theme that they're providing you. But again, we'll get to that in a second. Let's check out some of the other options or the settings right here. So default post category, uncategorized. Well, once we start adding post categories, we can make a default post category, and depending on the theme you're using, that could change up the appearance of the site and everything like that. Default post format, standard. You can experiment with these once you actually have content to work with. For now, we're just going to leave that there. Right here for post via email, as it states, to post to WordPress by email, you must set up a secret email account with a POP3 access. We're not going to worry about that right now. Let's just go ahead and save changes there, although nothing really changed. The read settings, all right, so your homepage displays your latest post, or do you want it to display a static page? All right, so right now we only have one page All right, and so we're not going to mess with this, but we may experiment with this when we get an actual theme going here. But as in the read settings, one of the things that you can really control, which really changes up the feel of your website when somebody lands on it, is your homepage displays. So you can either do your posts or a static page. And then here's just some other general settings. One thing that I would highly discourage is don't check this on. Discourage search engines from indexing this website. Unless this is some type of website you don't want a lot of visitors being able to find your site, don't click on this because you want to be found. That's how you get visitors and such. Under discussion, this is just general. I'm not going to go through all of these, just general settings that pertain to the posts or the pages or any page that you've enabled comments on. This will be all of the basic settings for that. Media. So when you create posts or pages, you're able to add media. Very simple. You can see it right here. This is just thumbnail sizes essentially here, and it's just a basic setting for uploading into month and year based folders. I really wouldn't mess with that either. Permalinks. All right. So this has to do with when you write a post, and for instance, if you want to share it on social media or anywhere else, really, you need a URL to give people to access your latest post. So it has common settings. Back in the day, WordPress used to have the default option was this. It was just this ugly address. For me, it makes most sense just to where it's at now, which is by default, which is post name. And so when you make a post or a page, they allow you to specify an actual URL, custom URL right here. You could do month and name and day and name as well. So it will include the month and date and all that stuff along with the post name. That's completely up to you. It won't really affect your search engine rankings or anything like that. It's just going to make it a little bit longer. I'm going to leave it at post name though as well. So finally, we have privacy down here. This just has to do with the privacy policy. I wouldn't modify that either. Next, let's go ahead and check out just momentarily the plugins, because you can see we have a little notification here. It says 2. So right here, when it comes to WordPress, one of its most impressive features outside of themes is the robust amount of plugins that you have access to. So a WordPress plugin is a specialized feature that you can add or integrate based on your needs or your desires or whatever you want, what type of features you want on your website, or even in the dashboard itself. So by default, as you can see, it has 2 that it's recommending by default, and this will do this for everybody who's installing WordPress. And it's not activated yet, but it gives you the option to do this. So first of all, we can see there's a new version of this anti-spam plugin right here. You can view the details or just click Update Now, and it updates the plugins automatically. So keeping your plugins up to date is very important because some of them can be exploited. And really, this is a word of caution. You don't want to have a ton of WordPress plugins just because every plugin you have will slow things down and also can open you up to vulnerabilities. But you also, that's why you want to keep everything up to date as possible. So let's update these, both of them, and then we will click activate. So the first one, anti-spam, this right here, this anti-spam plugin, when it comes to enabling comments, if you choose to enable comments on your posts on your site or your blog or whatever the purpose of this WordPress page is, if you have no sort of anti-spam measures being taken into place, then eventually you're going to get a lot of spam comments from spammers. And this is one plugin that you can use to deal with it. So let's go ahead and click activate, and there we go. You can set up your account here. We're not going to worry about doing that. I just kind of wanted to quickly show you this. This Hello Dolly, when activated, you're randomly going to see a lyric from Hello Dolly in the upper right corner of your admin screen on every page. Let's activate it anyways. And right here, I think that's what it is referring to right there. It's just kind of silly. But that is plugins in a sense. So if you click on Add New, you'll have access to a big search area, which we're not going to do just yet. First, before we do that, I want to get to one of the core of WordPress, and that is WordPress themes. So by default, we could see what the active current theme is, and that is 2019. And these are simply the official WordPress themes that come shipped with WordPress by default when you install it. As you can see, the naming conventions are simply the written version of the years, so 2017, 2016, etc. And you can add a new theme. We're not going to do that just yet. But depending on which active theme that you currently have on your site, which again, that just gives you the layout and the aesthetic of what your site looks like. Again, this is 2019. This is what 2019 looks like. It's very, very simple. It's meant to be, but you can customize them. So when you click customize on a theme, it's going to take you to this sort of area where it shows you on the right-hand side in this main column, the actual theme. And then on the left-hand side, we have a sidebar navigation where we can adjust settings. So for instance, when we went to change the name before, well, if you simply click on this edit icon, it's going to take you to this section right here, site identity, where you can specify a logo if you want to show a logo, which is usually the most, the standard convention, and adjust the site title and tagline. So these two things are coming from that settings area where you can specify them here or there, doesn't matter. Also, you can have a site icon right here, and it shows you where the site icon may be used. Going back, you can also adjust the colors. So we have a default color, or we could choose custom. So custom, it'll start changing just the links and buttons and any other areas that this theme has applied that color to. Let's just leave it right there. So let's go back. We can go to menus. Now, right now, we don't yet have a menu. I'll show you how to build a menu. Of course, almost every site is going to have a menu of some sort, like an About Us page or the blog post page or Contact Us, etc. You can create menus very easily. Also, we have widgets. Widgets are very central to WordPress, and they allow you to drop in certain functionality like a search box or a recent posts section or categories. And so you can add other widgets as well. And there's a vast array of them that you can use. Homepage settings. So again, this is just coming from the settings page, and so it's just kind of keeping all this stuff in one central area that's easy to access outside of having to go to the dashboard or the main dashboard settings area. And then additional CSS. CSS is cascading style sheets. If you're not familiar with what that is, then I actually do have a beginner's course to HTML and CSS that I released earlier this year. So just go into my channel, do this channel search, and type in CSS. You should be able to find it, hopefully. But basically, here's what it is. You write rule sets with properties and values that allow you to change the appearance. So this is a real fine level way of customizing certain elements of your WordPress theme. So for instance, this right here, I know by default is in an HTML element called H1, or it's a heading tag. So if I type in H1, we open it up in curly braces, we can start putting properties. For instance, if we want it to be italicized, we do font style, which is the property, and we'll say, let's see, italic. So right there, it updates automatically and shows us exactly what that looks like. Maybe we want it to be bold. Font weight, bold. I guess they're not using a bold font there. Let's say, for instance, we want it to be underlined. There we go. Fonts, no, text decoration. Underline. So there are a ton. There's hundreds of CSS properties that allow you to do certain things. You can move things around. You can animate them. You can do a lot. And so there's a lot of powerful features and settings that you can use to customize the appearance of your website. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. So that's what that section is for. So once you make changes, you can hit publish, and that will make them permanent. So we didn't really change anything except for the colors. So let's go ahead and hit publish. And now, for instance, if we go back to our other tab, we have our custom color and anything else that we may have decided to update. Okay, so remember when we talked about the menus? Let's go ahead and get the menus set up. But first, that means we're going to have to take a look at pages, Because what point in having a menu if you don't have any pages, because the menu is based on your pages. It's basically a navigation where people can access different pages. So let's go back here. Let's click out of here. And let's go ahead to our pages right here. So right here, we can see we have a sample page. And this area allows us to delete them. We can edit them. And we can also apply certain bulk actions, like it can move the trash if we select multiple and all this good stuff. So sample page, let's click on that. All right, so this right here is the new, what's called the Gutenberg Editor, and it's a block level editor that allows us to create and manage our content. And what it means by block level editor, as you can see, when we hover over these certain areas, everything is treated as a block depending on what it is. So when you hover over certain areas, this is letting us know that, hey, this is a paragraph. All right, so if we hover over this, we can see this is a quote, and we can see it's styled differently. This is also another paragraph in the middle. We have another quote here, and so on and so forth. So over here, for each page, we have some other settings that are specific to it. So first of all, we have status and visibility. Right now, this one's public because it's shipped with the theme and it was created by default. But by default, when we go to create a new page, which you'll see, it won't be public. You'll be kind of in a draft mode where nobody can actually see it until you specify to make it public and to publish it. Under here, we have permalink. So this is, again, this allows you to control the URL of the page outside. So you have your whatever.com or .net or .org or whatever, / and then this is where you specify the name. Now, for search engine optimization purposes, it's a good idea to put in the keywords that are relevant to the page. You don't want to stuff it and make it really long, but just to mention the primary keyword here in the URL separated by hyphens usually is the standard for that. And then, of course, you can right-click on this, open in a new window, and you can see the actual page as it stands. Outside of that, we have a featured image area right here. So we can set a featured image, and this allows us to upload media here. So if we select files here, I'm going to choose, let's see here, this picture of Steve Vai, a guitarist. I'm really into guitar, by the way. It'll automatically upload it, and we can just choose select. And by default, if once you do this, you may not see anything, but you can actually, anything that you upload from your media area, we can add it to the blog post or your pages if you wish. So for instance, if I hover over this and we click on a plus block, we can choose an image. So these are all the different blocks and the different things that you can do with them. You can have a paragraph, your heading, your quote, audio, cover, galleries. You can expand them more to have other elements such as layout elements. You can search for buttons, page breaks. There's a lot of things, and it's very easy to use. So these are referred to, again, as a block, okay? This is a block editor. So let's just do an image. We can choose media library from the one that we just chose, and we could just add it right in here. So we can choose select, and we can scale it down. On the image, we see we have this settings right here. So we can change the block type here from image to whatever else that we just saw. We can align left from the rest of the content. So if we click on this, ta-da, look at that. Or we can align to the right. We can still scale it up as well. And we can also edit the image. And here's some more options as well. So these are specific block settings where you can edit as HTML if you understand HTML, of course, and just some other settings here where we can duplicate. We can insert this before or after certain elements depending on where the block level is. And let's go ahead and let's just hit update, and let's go back and view the actual page. So if we come here, now see what is very interesting is being that we chose this as a featured image, the way this particular theme chooses to deal and display the featured image is by making it a full width sort of graphic that has applied to it this purple hue effect. And it has your page title at the bottom, and you scroll down, you can see the rest of the content. And as we have aligned right, this image, the original image, right over here. So as you'll see, themes, the WordPress themes, when we start to look through them, they provide you with a huge, just a huge array of different layouts, depending on what you prefer. You may not like this, and that's understandable. But that's why the WordPress theme ecosystem, where there's literally thousands of themes to choose from, is so great. So let's go back here. And also, after featured image, we also have discussion, so we can choose to allow comments on these pages or not. Page attributes, this just gives you an order of the page itself. So let's go back and actually add a page, and that way we can have a couple pages at least to work with to specify a menu system. So I'll name this just something generic like About Us. So we can start to write our blocks, and you can click Add Block, and you can go back to the same area where we can add different things. Let's start off with a quote, and I'm just going to type in design course is one of the best design channels on YouTube, of course. All right, in a citation, of course, we can say not Gary Simon. That was somebody else who said that, not me. We can do a paragraph, which would make sense as well. Perhaps I will go to lipsum.com and just grab some Lipsum text. This is what designers use just to fill out just mock content, essentially. I think we'll leave it there. Maybe I'll do one more where we demonstrate perhaps one other thing, like the layout elements, or maybe a widget. We can also put in widgets, which is very cool. So for instance, we can do, let's just do latest comments. So we could just put the latest comment right here. And if we want to move these blocks around, we could just hit plus, or not plus, but the move up or move down element. Let's put this, now let's put it above. I don't know why. So as you can see, you have full flexibility with this block level editor, which is very cool. So we'll just say this is our page. It's a really stupid page, I have to say. But if we go down here to the document settings over here, we can go ahead and once we hit publish, then it will be accessible. So if you want to have time, perhaps you don't have enough time to bust out this certain page and all of its content in one sitting, or you're just not ready to make it public yet, you don't want people to see it, you can change the visibility here from by default to public to private or password protected as well. So we're just going to leave it at public. Publish, you can choose a certain date in which you want to publish this post. We'll just say immediately, and then we can go ahead and the feature image, again, if you specify one, it's going to be that full size sort of layout that it has. We're not going to do that. We can allow comments, and then let's just hit publish. Are you ready to publish? Yes. All right, so it is now live, and we can view the page right here. So as you can see, it's going to show whatever latest comment is showing up here. And we can also post comments, as you can see as well. Hey, this is my comment on your brand new post. So we'll hit post, and there it goes. It shows our username here and all that good stuff. So you as an admin have the ability to edit these comments, and you can delete them, and all you can see right here under the main section over this area, there it is. There's my comment. So that's what the comments tab's for. You can just unapprove, or you can mark it as spam, throw it away, etc. All very easy. All right, so going back to our pages now, we now have 3 pages, a privacy policy. Let's preview that. It's just a basic privacy policy. It's just very generic, just legal stuff essentially. And if we go back here to our dashboard, these are our pages. So now how do we build out a menu? that'll allow people to access these pages? Well, there's a few different ways. We could come down here to Appearance in Menus. All right, and we can start building a menu structure right here. But you can also manage it with what's called a live preview. And we saw this earlier, and this is where we go to make customizations in a visual way where it has the layout on the right and this sort of settings menu bar on the left. Right here, it's taking us right to menus. And as it's saying, it doesn't look like your site has any menus yet. And that's one of the things you're always going to have to build is a menu system. So let's go ahead and create a new menu here. So we can give it a name. I'll just call this top menu bar. All right. And where do you want this menu to appear? So depending on the theme that you have, this may change here. So I'm going to choose it as primary. That's going to be our primary menu. And once we, if we want to add items to the menu, because right now it's not showing up, we click on Add Items, and we can see it's giving us a navigation here where we can specify pages, even posts as well, and categories and tags, if you have tags yet, which you don't. But the main thing you would probably want to be adding for your main navigation or your main area where people click on links to get around to your site is going to be pages. So by default, they give you a home page. That way, people just click on the title home. That takes them right back to the home page. It's a very familiar convention. We'll add that. And as you can see, once we add it, it updates the editor right away to show us however this particular theme chooses to display the menu. It's showing right up under here. Really large home button here. Click About Us and the sample page. There we go. You can even choose to show one of your posts, which we haven't gone over yet, but it'll show that right as well, right there. All right, so now let's say, for instance, if we didn't want, we want to remove one of these, you can just click the X and that takes that away. So now, if we wanted to publish this, which we do, we can go back to our designcoursewp.com and here it is. It's showing up right there. Kind of an ugly menu, but this shows up on every page now for this particular theme, which is consistent with a regular navigation. And this is one of those use cases, for me personally, I think this looks really ugly, this design. It's all over, you're not sure where to look. This is a use case for having a different WordPress theme. Or it's also a use case for understanding how to apply CSS. So for instance, if I wanted to change the appearance of this right here, maybe I want to push it down further from this section. Well, this is where it's a good idea to have your CSS knowledge. So for instance, if I get out the developer tools in Chrome, I hit Control-Shift-I, and I choose this little pointy icon, and I click up here, and I get down to my menu, which is an unordered list or a UL element with a class of main-menu. I can put in a class, which is denoted by a period in a CSS, main-menu. And we can say margin top 1.3 EM. We'll put the important flag there. That's a little bit too much, so maybe just 1 EM. And now it pushes it down a fair amount, and then we can hit publish, and now we've made customizations to this particular theme here. So now if I go back and refresh, it's going to be pushed down further from the title here. All right, so very easy. So now that's basically how you create your menus. And again, if you go back to here to Appearance Menus, you'll see the menu that you just created in the live editor, and you can modify it here as well. You can change the order of the page by moving these up or down. And you have a lot of other settings that you can apply to these as well. So very, very easy to use. So now that we've built out a menu system, let's go ahead and take a more closer look at themes. All right, so by default, we have this 2019 theme that I don't really like. And let's say we want to look at other themes. So we can click here, Add New Theme, or right here, Add New button. And this gives us access to this entire, and this right here is just featured, but there's thousands of them that you can choose. And in fact, if you go to Google and we type in WordPress themes 2019, you can come across a bunch of different sources where you can find paid themes and also free themes as well. So there's a lot of articles that you'll come across, but also full dedicated like elegantthemes.com, like full businesses have been thrust up and put up around just selling WordPress themes. And you usually go from anywhere from like $20 per theme, a one-time fee, all the way up to $100+. And some of them are very robust. But we're not going to do that. I'm just kind of noting that as an aside. But let's say, for instance, as you can see, these are right here. It's showing you the latest 15 featured themes. You can scroll down, you can check them out. Like for instance, if you think this one looks interesting, we can choose preview. It's going to show what this theme sort of looks like. If we get out of there, let's say for instance, you have a fitness business and you're going to use WordPress obviously, but you want like a fitness theme. Well, we could type in fitness. And it's going to show us a bunch of fitness-based themes that people have created and that you can install. So for instance, let's click on this one. So let's preview this one, fitness business. All right. And this is showing us just kind of what it would look like as it stands here. So let's click install and then activate. All right, so this theme is now activated on our site. So now we could see that it says this theme recommends the following plugins. Contact Form 7. You can click on these, by the way, to learn more about them. Jetpack, One-Click Demo, and WooCommerce. So these are all of the different plugins that this theme developer has integrated into this theme. So if you really want to be able to use it to its fullest extent, you can then click Begin Installing Plugins. So if we choose this to select all, we can now choose to go ahead and install and hit apply. And now they are all installed. So we can go back to themes and we obviously want to activate them. So remember, it's a two-step process. So we want to activate all of those and this should go momentarily. And there we go. So if we go back to themes, this time these messages should have gone away and they have. And now if we go back to our site, refresh, we'll see that our site has completely changed appearance from that 2019 theme now to this, except using some of the information that we already customized, such as the site name, design course, the taglines going right there. We have our navigation with the 3 navigation links that we created already. We can see they add some of their own stuff this theme developer has. We have this strange picture. We'll see how we'll modify that as well if we wish. And then our posts are just shown aligned completely differently. I really like the look at this, although it has no picture, and we'll take a look at that as well. But if we want to go back and make customizations to this, again, depending on whichever theme you have, it'll show the active theme, which is Fitness Business, this one's called. We click on Customize. It'll take us to this live editor where we have all these options this time. And depending on the theme that you're using, it's going to have a ton of different options over here. And as always, it's going to have the preview right here as well. So some of them may try to get you to update or upgrade to a premium options or whatever, but you don't necessarily have to depending on your needs. So again, we have site identity. If we click on this, it looks the same. We have colors. And this particular theme allows you to specify a range of different colors. So it allows you to specify the color of the site title color right here. If you click it, we have this interesting color picker here. You can see it's updating live right there. We'll leave that there, I guess. And so, yeah, you can change all this stuff right here. The header image, this is that strange image right here that you can choose to change if you wish. So we can choose add new image. Let's just choose that one, selecting crop. So we have a crop option right here. We'll crop that. I think this is even dumber than a default image that we had already, but that's okay. Now it's going to update with that stupid picture. Now, if this was a real fitness blog, you would have some sort of fitness, some like beefed up dude or something, or some chick with a Okay, well, never mind. I'm going to stop talking. You can also have a background image here if you wish, which by default it doesn't. You don't really want to have background images if they're too crazy or you're not confident in design. The menus, again, the same one here, same system that we saw before. Widgets. So you can choose which section of the layout that you want to have your widgets in. So the right sidebar, which is in relation to this area. So you can see we have a search area right here, search area right there. We have recent posts right there. What if we want to move our recent comments above recent posts? Look at that. It updates automatically. It's so easy to use. Let's say if we don't want recent comments, well, we can just remove it. We can also add it. Another recent thing here, we can have audio in our sidebar if we wish. You can have a cart area. There's just a ton of things that you can do here that is so freaking easy. We can even have arbitrary text. So I choose text. Let's position it right here above the search. You see it's blank. I say, yeah, I'm Gary here. And it's just going to show up in the layout, this text widget. You can even add media. Let's bold, yeah, just for the heck of it. And then hit done. All right, so that's how widgets work. Very, very easy to use. So if I go back, again, you can specify the widgets in any of the different layout sections for this particular theme that you wish. We can also have our homepage settings. That's the same area that we saw before, front page options. This one has quite a bit of options for different sections or pages. If we go to theme options, we can have header options, and this is where it has all this information. So if you want to have your address, 90210 Beverly Hills, CA. There we go. It's updating all that stuff, your email, your phone. This is all specific to this specific theme, and each theme will be different. There's also has a WooCommerce section where you can actually have a store of sorts. All right, so yeah, very, very cool. So if I hit publish, we made a couple adjustments to like the site name color and the address. So if we go back here, refresh the actual site, there it is. And this is the very strange image that we have here. All right, awesome stuff. So let's also real quickly check out posts. That's one thing that I haven't covered just yet, and that is posts. So you have pages and you have posts. So these right here, like we mentioned before, are just pages. And pages are usually meant to, by the way, allow you to really have concrete information. Usually it's not in the form of like a blog post. It's information pages that are static and they're served for pages like about us or having a contact page or what have you. So as you can see as well, for this particular theme, this is a little bit redundant. We have 3 images here. So you would want to definitely change that. But posts are more like what you would think of a typical blog post, like where you're updating it once a week with new content or news or information. And it works really very similarly to pages. They just have a different purpose. So if we go back here, let's get out of here and go back to posts. All right, so we have that basic hello world post, which is in relation to this post that's showing up right here. So let's click on that real quickly. Choose edit. So again, it's another block level. It's the same block level editor that we have, except it's structured a little bit differently. We can see if we want to add a block, we can click over here. We have this familiar menu that we already checked out before. We have a title right here that we can easily adjust. Let's just do that right now. We'll just do become a web developer, whatever. And we can also see under, if we go to the document settings over here, again, it has the same status and visibility section as pages, permalink as well, where we can control the URL to this particular post. Over featured image, that's one thing that we want to do. So set featured image, let's upload. I'm just going to use this recent UI design I did from a previous tutorial right here. May not be the greatest looking featured image, but I'm going to use it anyways. Once this is done, I will hit select. And I'm not sure what's happening here, but I selected it. Now I hit select over here. All right, so if I hit update that right there and I refresh, we'll see that now that image is now being filled in with a cropped version of the image that I specified. Boy, this site's kind of looking ugly with all the things I've done with it. But nonetheless, we can click on it and we can see that we have become a web developer, which is the title that we renamed it to. And in this particular theme, it's showing up on top of the site-wide header image right here. And then it's also deciding to show this the full-size thumbnail featured image that we specified here, along with welcome to WordPress is your first post. Again, that's relating to this content right down here. So again, I mean, to add another content, we can do, I don't know, let's just do latest comments again. And then we'll update it, come back here, refresh. We'll see now the latest comments have been added here right underneath. Very, very, very easy to use. So now let's say, for instance, you want to have a contact page. Now, if you recall, there was a plugin that had to do with a contact. So if we come down here, we can see there's a new contact link here. There's also WooCommerce and products link right here. So a lot of times, depending on the theme that you choose to install, along with the associated plugins, you're going to have new areas right here to manage the site. So if we choose contact, we can see there's a contact form that's been already added for us. And this is where it allows you in this form section to kind of create and structure the form elements. Now, I'm not going to bother spending time on this just because it's a little bit involved, but it does create a basic contact form where there's going to have a your name section, your email. The user would be asked to put in a subject and a message and a send button. Now, one of the important things here, in order to use this and actually display this, note it says copy this shortcode and paste it into your post, page, or text widget content. All right, so we take this and we copy it once it's highlighted. So you just click in there, copy, Control-C, and now we have it ready to go in our clipboard. So usually you would have, like up here, a contact button or something. So if that's the case, let's go and create a page out of that. So we can add new page, and we'll say contact us. So now this is a shortcode. It's seeing that this is actually a shortcode, and if we preview this, we can now see the form. So it says your name, your email, the subject, and the message, and the big old send button. So the way this theme developer decided to set up and structure their form elements is a little bit hard to see, like where you're supposed to click. It's a little bit difficult. But again, depending on the theme that you use, the form could look entirely different. But either way, if we go back here, let's just save this. We'll choose publish and publish. So now it's going to be, again, is it going to show up here? No. Why? Because we have to go back to our menus. But real quickly, after we add this new contact us page to the menu, we'll go back and look at some of the settings for the contact section. But for now, let's go back to our appearance in menus. And if we want to add this page contact here, we'll choose add to menu. And let's get rid of sample page because that looks really stupid. We'll hit remove and then save menu. And now we can go back, refresh, and there's the contact us, and that goes to our contact us page. See, it's really just a matter of muscle memory and trying to understand and learn how to understand to use the WordPress admin area to really control all the aspects of your site. But once you start to understand menu systems and pages and posts, that's really the core foundation of it, along with understanding themes. But yeah, so what would happen if we tried to even use this? Well, first we need to go back to our contacts section right here, and we have a mail section right here. So you can edit the mail template here, and this is saying this will be whichever email account is tied to your WordPress your WordPress account when you created it. If you're using Namecheap, they pretty much designate that well, they don't designate it for you, but it would be based on your account email. From is going to be, a lot of this is auto-populated, but you can change this information if you wish. So you're going to be receiving this email here, and also messages and additional settings can all go here. So very easy to use. I like it a lot. Me personally, I'm going to change this here to contact@coursetro.com. So again, when people fill out that form, this is where it's going to be sent to. So if I save that and we go back to use this form, I'm John Doe, my name at whoever.com. What's up? I like your site. So we hit send. Thank you for your message. It has been sent. All right, so that's what the user would see. And then within a minute or even less, you should be able to check out your email client. And here it is. It showed up about 60 seconds later. So John Doe with the email I specified. What's up? I like your site. So of course, you can completely customize that form in these form options in this form section right here. And you do it just by specifying this sort of format where you have a label. You put the actual label, the caption, your name, for instance, required. And then you specify the form fields in this manner. And if you click on these things right here, it's going to tell you, like if you want radio buttons or checkboxes in your form that you want people to be able to use, you can click on them and you can just choose insert tag based on the options that you're specifying here. So you don't actually have to write this stuff out by hand. All right, very, very cool. So outside of that, one thing that you should always do, and I was saving this for the end, you probably were annoyed, some of you. If we go to Appearance Themes, for instance, we can see up here it says WordPress 5.2.1 is available. Please update now. You're definitely going to want to do that because, again, there could be security vulnerabilities. So if we choose Update Now to update WordPress, we can choose that button right there. And then we'll wait momentarily for that to get done. You see it is working. And now that it's done, it's going to tell you what's new. So maintenance and security releases, just a bunch of stuff here. And so we can now go back here to Appearance Themes, for instance, and that message goes away. So whenever you have an update, it's going to let you know at the top of pretty much every page here that you want to use. Now, one final note that I wanted to mention when it concerns WordPress themes, you're going to want to make sure that they are responsive and they work well on small devices, medium-sized devices, and full desktops like we're here. So one way to check that out if you're on a PC, to see what it might look like in a mobile format, there's a few ways really. We can just simply take the browser window and bring the width in, and you can see how it starts to update the site and the appearance. For instance, one of the most notable things is it takes this menu here and it collapses it into what's called a hamburger icon. And if we click on it, the actual menu shows up in a different context, and that's called responsive design. It's something else to teach here if you're interested in, becoming an actual web developer / designer. And so if you were to use this on like an iPad, which is around the width we're currently at right around here, you would see this menu section. So if we come down further, we'll see that the layout even changes even more. So we go from a 2-column layout right here, where there's stuff over here and stuff over here, to where they're stacked on top of each other now for even a smaller, like a phone size. So that's just one area or one thing to consider when you're checking out WordPress themes. You can also see in the WordPress or in the mobile view, this changes. It's like a sticky navigation that people can access the entire time. One thing that might throw it off though is this section right here, because we're in the admin section. If we were to sign out of the administration area by logging out, that top bar will go away. So now if we go back to Design Course WP, we'll see that top black bar doesn't show up anymore. And now we can see what everyone else would completely see if they're visiting the website. So just another thing to consider. So when we scroll down now, this behavior of that sticky nav is working correctly because there was some space there. That top, that administration bar was kind of throwing it off a little bit. But yeah, so now you can visit this site and you have full control over your WordPress theme using what you've been taught here so far. All right, so hopefully you found that very enjoyable and useful. I know we covered a lot of ground, and if you're brand new to WordPress, you probably have to refer back to other areas of this video or even check out the official documentation. So everybody, I'm telling you, if you really want to get up and started with WordPress as fast as possible, definitely check out Namecheap.com, the EasyWP solution. So again, it's linked here in the very first link of the YouTube description, and I show you exactly how to get up and running here earlier in this video, and it's just really a breeze, and it's a really great tool to work with. All right, so I will see you guys very soon in yet another video. Goodbye.